Connecting to audio. Dude, I can't see your face though, boss. Move back a little. All right, we got 13 attendees so far. What's up, Andy Potts? Yodel Dodo, buddy.
Yodel Dodo, Danny Brienza, what's shaking, man?
Nothing much, man. I'm sad that we're not together.
I know, but you get to enjoy the company of, you get to enjoy the fall leaves changing.
Oh, it is quite lovely right now.
Yeah.
This mountainside's on fire. That was an Espys reference. We got 12 people so far, rocking and rolling. I think we could, oh, it looks like Steve Campbell or Katie Fiddler's on with their handle as DB sucks at ping pong. That might be Brian too. Do you know, before we get started, really traumatic. The last 2 times Brian and I played ping pong, he beat me.
For real?
For real, like worked me over.
And was he presenting the ball appropriately?
He was presenting his balls appropriately. What's really interesting is I come out swinging and I'll beat him the first 2-3 like rounds because we play best of 7, best of 7. So it's 7 game best of 7 series, and you play best of 7 of 7 series.
Oh,
so that's like it could be up to what's that, 49 games, I believe. Yeah. So once we get past like the 3rd series, I just don't care. I just get tired. I get tired. I can't wash my hands enough. I wash my hands after every match.
He wears you down mentally. That's a mental fatigue. And I think people suffer from mental fatigue often with their training and their racing as well.
Absolutely. And that's something I think we should talk about, especially with the COVID year.
Yeah. If you get more stamina, as you build stamina, and I find this with athletes I coach, they'll comment like, oh, that hour and a half ride felt really long, or that hour ride felt really long. And as we build up tolerance and as we build up their ability to withstand the effort of the day, they'll be like, oh, that 2-hour ride flew by. Oh, that 2 hours, no big deal. And then it's 2.5. And then it's as it builds on itself. And you find yourself more mentally engaged as it goes along. And I'm not immune to this, and I don't think you are either.
No joke, going through it right now. I talked about it yesterday, actually, but in a coach's corner, I think. But like today, I swam in 1800, and it felt like longer than most of our 7K sets we do. Like I was counting by the 12 and a half. It was horrible.
Yeah, I do find that you're like it's fitness oriented. It's I think there are some doubts along the way, but as you really build your system, you find that you can tolerate the 2-hour rides, the 3-hour rides, the 4-hour rides, the 5-hour rides, exactly. And then you're like, oh wow! What I try to get people to realize is, when you're tolerating a 5-hour ride or a 2-hour run or a 6,000 yards swim, like where you were 7 months ago when it was like, I didn't have time for this today. You just start carving out more time for yourself, and then you're able to handle and withstand more stuff. And I don't know. I find it one of the underappreciated aspects of fitness and health.
Absolutely. Agreed 100%.
Yeah.
So I think we could kick off and start now, but it seems like we got a good quorum of people here. And what you just discussed is what I want to start with. I want to start with a big topic that we can talk about, like your manicure and your fingers, I was able to see just now. And then move on to logistics, all stuff AP racing, and then dive into everyone's questions, almost rapid fire it that we go after it. Sound good?
Sounds great.
Everyone that's out there, you can't see each other. We can see you though. We did that so we can record this, make it a webinar, and then we can send it out to everyone that's not here. If you have questions, hit it up in the Q&A and we will answer them. We got everyone's questions from the Google Sheet. So thank you for people to make questions. We will get to all of them. We're going to go. But if things come up, you ask. Got it. Even Brian McEnany already asked a question. And we'll get to that, Brian. So, Andy, you just talked about how you build up resiliency and tolerance as time goes on, right? The big question that I think a lot of people are having now, right, is some people are winding down, some are still going, right?
Yeah.
But still, like even with COVID and with Ironman and whatnot, you really have to plan your year now. Some people have already signed up for races. So one quick aside, for AP Racing, typically we pick races that we're going to have as team races for the year around this time. We're not going to do that this year. We're going to base it on all of your races and your calendar. So when you guys submit your calendars to us, that's how we're going to pick team races. And we have a bunch of other things with that too. But so Andy, Steve White asked, like, is there really a triathlon season or not a season? And then like, how do you plan your year? And how do you think about right now and like really planning out week by week, month by month so far?
Sure. So I'll give you a quick synopsis of how I do it, and then maybe how we could manage it for like what's applicable and what's not. So for me, my season as a professional is I pretty much for years and years, it's pretty much like March through October. It started to like leach out into like some February events or some December races. And when it does that, you can get away with it one or two times. But I really, if I'm racing in December, then my season will probably end up kicking off late April, early May. There has to be a downtime. And in that downtime, I take a big exhale. When I start having new goals and I start formulating new ideas on how to improve, that's a good indicator for me on when to set a schedule and really get after it with some physicality. So I look at the race season as what excites me, what I can really get behind and be motivated about. So I'll pick a few big races, destination oriented or experientially, what would be out there. And then I'll kind of supplement it with some other races so I can use those as stepping stones along the way, and other kind of litmus tests to make sure I'm on the right path. And if I need to make any micro adjustments along the way, those are good ways to do it.
Can I jump in here real quick? The thing that's really important, you said like March, typically your timeline, a lot of this is dependent on where you live. Like yes. We're in the Northern Hemisphere, you're in Colorado where it's cold. If you live in Southern California, it's actually great to race early in the year because you can train through the winter. So like racing in April, racing in March, it's very easy to do. Florida even. But once you start looking at, I live in a cold climate, I can't get out as much, it's darker, longer, the shoulder seasons are really nice, or like June, July, August are really nice to race in because you can prepare appropriately. Personally, I'm a big advocate of racing. Well, right now, no, but like when I lived someplace warm, racing in like March, April, May, and then having a big training block, a little break, big training block, and racing again in October, November, December.
Yeah, with that, Daniel, I think that you are with that mentality and with the planning. I think the lesson there that we can take from that is you're trying to set yourself up for success, and you're planning for success, and you're taking some of the uncontrollables and making it so they work to your advantage when it is a little bit nicer, and you can play to the weather, or you can play to the sunlight, or you can play to the temperatures. So I think each and every person has their own individual circumstance, whether that be, and it's not necessarily weather oriented, it could be family oriented, how you, if you've got kids and if it's the school season, or you could have other things with your work. Hey, we usually launch a new X in May. So therefore that build season isn't quite there. So you want to have the summer build into a fall racing season. So it really depends on the individual circumstances, but it always comes back to having triathlon fit into your life as opposed to the other way around, and setting yourself up for success like Daniel described.
Exactamundo. Perfect. All right. I had something else to say about that. I can't remember, so we'll move on. That's the big thing we have to think about as you sit down with your family, yourself, your coach, whoever. That's what you should be thinking about this time of year. And yeah.
I had one other thought. As you're kind of devising a schedule and putting it out there, there are a couple things that I think about. Number one is what motivates you, but sometimes undiscussed is what's a little scary.
Yeah.
What's makes you a little nervous, a little apprehensive. And it's also that reach, or it extends you beyond what you think you might be capable of doing. For some people, in terms of their internal compass, that can be really motivating, and that can give you a big kickstart and keep that fire lit underneath you to empower you. So, if you are a type of person that really wants to have that huge goal out there, start formulating it now. I know some of these races sell out pretty quickly, and that's always a consideration. So, yeah.
Yeah. And he said it, the number one thing is what excites you and gets you like out the door and happy to go. The other thing, these are two little things, but big things. I know there's a lot of deferrals and things going on. The fitter you are, the less this applies, but it still really applies. Don't schedule back-to-back 70.3s and Ironman weekends, and try not to put a 70.3, especially if your fitness isn't really there, anywhere from 2 to 5 weeks out from an Ironman, because that's some really critical time for a lot of you guys. And if you, for example, you schedule a 70.3 5 weeks out from an Ironman, you're like, oh, I'm going to get this great race, fitness, whatever. It's great if you're really fit and you could go into the race with minimal downtime and come out of the race with minimal recovery time. If you are less fit, it takes longer to do both of those things, and it could really affect your training, because that's a pretty important time. So just think of that. All right. Good.
Yeah.
Any questions on that? You guys let us know. Let's dive into some logistics and just like team stuff. Sound good?
Yes. Just for logistics to jump off, you have a Q&A, and we also have a chat. I think a lot of people are used to chats in Zoom over the Q&A section. So which one would you like people to put things in?
They can go in both. I'm going to pull a chat up right now.
Okay.
So real quick, Jose wanted to know what races you're doing, and I can answer that real quick and say we just don't know yet. We're doing this process right now.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's go. So logistics. Here's one. All right, let me take a step back. AP Racing, as athletes, as coaches, as people, as a team, we're always trying to improve. It's why we started Potheads Plus last year. It's why we experiment with a lot of different things. So the more feedback you give us, the more ownership you guys even take and tell us, hey, let's try this and this. We're going to try it. There's some things we won't just because they're not feasible, but we appreciate you guys telling us. So thank you. One thing that we're changing this year, you're going to get an email about it this week, as well as see more and more about it, is we're starting another part of our team. And it's going to be called the squad, to go along with the crew. And so here's the deal. In the past, we had a membership portion of our team where you could just be a member and get the sponsor benefits, get all the team activities, get all the whatever, right? We're trying to move away from that a little bit because we want to create a family and a community here. And we found that the people that were members were less engaged. So what we're going to do is we're going to make this an application only portion of our team from now on. For 99.9% of you, this does not make a difference at all, except maybe you might find some new team members, or you might have some friends that have coaches that want to be part of the team and they can join the squad.
Well, it does make a big difference for everybody here, because we're talking about culture, and we're trying to build this community. And therefore, when we look at enhancing it, there will hopefully be an upside to all of these things. And if we are changing things to elicit improvement, just like you do with your training, we're trying to build the same thing here. So hopefully you will see the benefit, because it will create a larger community, a more engaged community, and maybe enhance your friends.
Exactly. And so for anyone that's already a Potheads Plus, part of the Potheads custom training program or one-on-one coach athlete, no difference in terms of you're automatically enrolled, you're part of the squad, you're part of the AP Racing family, no difference. This is for the folks that don't want coaching, but want to be part of the community. We're hoping this helps us kind of also filter out some people that might want to join, that we can vet a bit and help the community, and also maybe even bring up some of our numbers and engagement with folks so we could do more things. And that's the big thing. So be on the lookout for that. If you have questions now or later, let us know. It's kind of difficult for me to see the chat window. Is there anything there? Nope, not yet. Okay, cool. So that's that. Next thing, Potheads Plus. Andy, how'd you feel this program went last year?
I thought the Potheads Plus program was probably the best program we've initiated and started in terms of the value that we're trying to offer, and how we can enhance the programming within, how it's a two-way street, and it's feedback oriented, but it's also gives you some autonomy. I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah. So for anyone that doesn't know, the Potheads Plus program is one where you have a quarterly check. You have an assigned coach, just like one-on-one coaching, but you have a quarterly check-in with them. And sometimes it happened a little more. Sometimes it wasn't directly on the quarter, depending on your races, your events. And what happened in that check-in was we did an analysis of your training up to that point, and we built your next phase of training. I keep on saying it, like, oh, our one-on-one coaching is a great value. Our custom training program is the best value in triathlon. If you're on the fence of one-on-one coaching and need a little more help than just a plan, this is probably the best value in triathlon. So I implore all of you to look at it a little further. It's awesome. The one change for next year for you guys, actually it's two changes. One is we were on quarterly payment system. So I think it was $3.99 for the year and then $1.99 a quarter, which works out to about $100 a month. Pretty good deal. It's going to be semi-annual now. And the main reason for this is it's just a financial thing on our end, because we had too many people that would get their training, do their stuff, and then cancel. And we were left holding the bag. And that's just not cool. So we're changing to semi-annual now. And we're hoping it helps a little bit with that aspect of things for us. And shouldn't be too much of a hit for you guys. We're also going to offer additional options for check-ins with our coaches. That it might, like this year we were pretty loose about it and tried to help everyone. So that's what I got for that. Check it out. One bonus for all you one-on-one athletes out there, we will now include strength and stability training in our coaching for you guys. We found that all you guys need it and want it, and we're full service, and that makes it full service. For everyone else, I'm gonna pull the curtain back a little bit. Everyone always asks for strength and conditioning coaching and training. Everyone asks for it. They're like, oh, we need this, we need that. We might not be doing a good job talking about it or explaining it, but we probably have like 3 to 5 people a year that actually take us up on it. So if we've tried to offer it, maybe we're not doing it right, but it's there. So if you want it, you can get it. If you need us to explain it, we can put it up in the chat. We're going to try and put it a little better on the website for you guys to see as well. Yeah.
The one caveat I have with the strength training, especially just for setting the expectations for everybody in the one-on-one program, we're trying to carve out 2 times a week where you get in the strength conditioning aspect of it. And I'd say it will probably skew more towards mobility than it will strength in the beginning, just because of, people with different things that have happened to them up until this point until life. in terms of their overall mobility, the pliability, the flexibility aspects of their whole daily movement, then we'll start to apply strength training. So look for that in terms of expectations for 2 times a week.
And Sam just asked, can we see Daniel in some strength training videos? I don't know if my guns could fit in frame. That's all I'm going to say right there. All right. So a couple more logistics. Everyone's asking about camps and clinics. Everyone. Here's the deal. We'll probably be able to give you a full schedule in about a month.
Yeah.
We're running into issues, as you can imagine, because of COVID and just scheduling for the year with races and everything else coming up.
Yeah, it's that push-pull. It's you think you have it, and then something else drops out, and it crashes the pyramid that we're trying to build. So there are still a few more moving pieces out there. Let us get them situated before we give you bad information.
Yeah, I am going to give you, I'll call it our brain dump right now, so you can have an idea. Andy and I could plan a camp for every month. We could, and we want to, because there's so much fun and cool stuff with cool people is what we want to do. There's a few issues we run into. And again, this is transparency. We're one team here. One, we have limited resource, which is time. 2, the more camps we do, the less people show up to each one, and we end up losing money, which is never good. We try and make our camps so we break even, so it's affordable for you, and so that we can all get together and build the community. So that's what we run into. 3, as most of you know, this year Andy and I are launching our and Brian and Katie and the rest of our team are launching our wetsuit, our goggles, and a bunch of other products, which is going to be deemed the pinnacle line from Hoob. Nice sweatshirt, Andy, that we spent a long time developing. Because of that, we're going to be running swim clinics around the country too. So time becomes a resource, but we might be able to see you guys more. I'm going to just tell you, just to tickle your fancy a little bit, talk about it. These are some of the things we were talking about for this year. I don't know what's going to happen, but just so you know, January, February, March, depending on St. George, Kona, everything else, we were thinking about a swim run camp or a swim and ski camp. We're not sure what we're going to do. Maybe. At a minimum, we're going to do a Chula camp as long as we can get into the OTC there. May, we're going to do a training week, the week of the Ironman World Championship in St. George. So I know like Andy Nye, John Marley, Karina are already set up to go there. We're going to be down there. Myself, Steve, probably Brian will all be there. A few other, Gustavo, probably a few of our other coaches to run a training week. This is going to be no frills. We'll have like, hey, this is where we're staying. This is where you guys could stay. This is the schedule for the week, but it's going to be crazy cheap. I'm talking like $0 almost. And we'll set up all the training. We'll set up the pools. We'll guide you for the week. We'll have talks, but it'll be more of a training week than anything else. June, July, and August is always hit or miss because of races, but we're looking right now, our go-to, one of our favorites, Colorado Springs, or we're going to go to Park City, which is fantastic for a new place. September, we're looking at doing a joint camp with our team down in Brazil, and the camp would be in Cozumel, and it would be in between the Cozumel 70.3 and the Cozumel Olympic and sprint distance race. So you could race twice and go to a camp if you wanted to. And then in October, we'll do another one of those no frills training weeks for prep for Arizona, Florida, and all the late season races, Cozumel. And that'll probably be in California, Arizona. We were toying with bike only camps, a few other things, but that's kind of what we're thinking. At the end of the day, we'll probably do 2 camps next year. That's my guess. Cool.
Cool.
Let's see. Ooh, someone want to go to swim and ski camp. Hey, Jim, don't worry about Icon or otherwise. Actually, we would probably do it at Copper and Vale, which is Icon, but your lift tickets would be included because we rock that way. We'll work on it. Okay. Ready to roll? We're going to go rapid fire here. You ready, Potts?
I'm ready.
Training and recovery is really tough. Okay. Double question here. what's a good recovery plan? And when do you know it's okay to go back to training? Like, let's say you're injured or otherwise, and your doctor says it's okay, but you still don't feel so good.
Yeah. So as you are exiting, whether that be an injury or the off season, I go with the less is more philosophy, and I allow that my body to come around. I'm just unsure, I'm actually physically coming off of an injury right now, and there's some trepidation as I enter back into running. What can my body handle? It's talking loudly to me. Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? I'm not sure if I should even listen, or am I listening too much? It's a super fine line, and I play it really slowly in terms of my build. So like first week back running for me is this is going to sound silly, but I run for 10 minutes on the first day, and it's slow. Like I don't even get a mile in. And then I'm like, okay, if it goes great, then it's onward and upward. If it just goes, then it's a repeat the next day. So it's a lot of listening to your body. Sometimes you have to know when to push and when not to push. There's the good hurt versus the bad hurt. That should be fairly obvious. What's a good hurt? What's a bad hurt? So if you are having trouble reading the signs of if it's a good hurt and a bad hurt, you talk with us, let us know what's going on. But usually it's just there's some mobility issues you're trying to work back into, and coming off of an injury. Now, when it comes to recovery, so what I try to do, just like training and how to adapt and learn from your recovery, try to add one recovery modality at a time to see what's working, what's taking, what's not. And for me, what I'm doing in terms of recovery, it all starts that half an hour to an hour before bedtime. I think it's a natural wind down. And if you can add in, so let's say you're getting ready for bed, maybe it's Mark Pro. You start throwing on Mark Pro, right? As you're, going to bed, or you're reading in bed, and then it's a half an hour, and then you take it off. And, or if it's some hyper ice, you add in hyper ice the half an hour before bed. So you just kind of carve out a little bit more time pre-bedtime, because you're going into rest at that point. So,
Yep.
And then as you get better with it, it will expand into an hour before bedtime, and then it will segue into a half hour after you wake up. Then you start to carve out a little time post-workout, pre-workout. I would really stress stretching right now. Now is an awesome time to stretch, even if you haven't been stretching and you are racing Ironman California, Ironman Arizona, Ironman Florida, one of the 70.3s coming up. Start stretching. You don't have to stretch too hard, too intense, but we need to work on that mobility aspect. Start to develop a routine. If you've ever been to camp and you are swimming, guys, do those arm swings, pre-swim, post-swim, whichever you like. It does not take long. The whole cycle, I did it this morning. It takes 5 minutes. I actually timed myself this morning to see how long I stretch post-swim. And my post-swim stretch is 5 minutes. I can definitely stretch that out to 15. But
So I got a question for you. Well, no, first statement. Did you watch the Espys or the Emmys or anything recently? Or you're familiar with the shows, though, the broadcasts and the...
Yeah.
Okay, so they have a limited window. It's under, I think, 1.5 to 2 minutes to answer, okay? So this is the Espys. You got 30 seconds from now on.
Check.
Okay, and I think you can do it. You can be concise and good. All right?
Thank you.
Okay, here we go. Race, and I'm going to get to everything, I promise, guys. Racing to qualify, whether that's for world champs or whatever, it's for you or for an age grouper. How much math or on-course tracking do you do in your head to chase a qualifying slot, or should our athletes be doing?
When you are in a race, if you are executing your day to have the best possible outcome, I do very little math because I'm literally trying to do my best. If I'm teetering on, I'm not quite pushing hard enough, then there's a little bit of math. Who's up the road? Excuse me. Who's up the road? Who's behind me? What are the dynamics? How fast are we going? Then there's a little bit of math, but it's actually very little because I'm at full tilt and I'm trying my best. If I qualify, great. If I don't qualify and I still try my best, awesome. So shouldn't really be too big of a part of the equation unless you're a professional and this is literally how you make a living.
Yeah, because age groupers, you can't tell half the time anyway because of the staggered start and everything else. Just do your best. That's the best way. And fight the whole way. Yeah.
Yes. Execute your plan. Have a plan and execute.
Exactly.
And then you know you're smiling at the end of the day.
Yeah, if you've trained properly, you know what you can do and you can do it and you're in control the whole day. The thing I keep on hearing more and more from our one-on-one athletes that I coach is I've never been in such control so late in a race.
Oh.
And that's the key. If you can be in control of your race and dictate your race, then you've done a good job preparing and it doesn't matter where anyone else is. Okay, this is going to be part double, part not. So I'll start with one. Should you focus on your strongest sport or your weakest sport? Is it different during in season or out of season?
Yes.
Got it, guys? You should focus on both. Corollary, as athletes age, right? And just in general, can you get away with training and racing and a half, just doing one discipline a day for workouts rather than two?
Maybe.
Yeah, it's a hard one because your ability to prepare is a function of the time you spend doing a sport and training. And one sport a day makes it really hard to be ready for a half Ironman and definitely an Ironman.
Yeah, when you look at how a race is parceled out during the day, if the swim is going to just blow your doors off because you didn't grow up as a swimmer and you haven't been putting time in the swim, it's like it can have a trickle down effect. And there is a fine balance. And then let's go back really quickly to, I try to train away my weaknesses, race to my strengths. However, human nature will dictate that I will spend more time doing things I like and where I get positive feedback and excel. So that will enhance my strengths along the way. But I do look at, let's keep it really simple. Two things. What are two things you can do to improve X, to improve your swimming, to improve your biking, to improve your running? What are two things that you do well? And what are two things that you can improve on? And then you just kind of toggle back and forth between 1 and 1, 2 and 2, 1 and 2, 2 and 1 to elicit improvement.
Yeah. And so the question came up, Andy, because one of our athletes really struggles with 2 days because of injury. And what I would say to that is, one, let's address the injury first and let's see what we can do to get out of that. And 2 a days, especially early on, like Andy said, it doesn't have to be a lot. And if you combine swim with something else, it might give you that relief. Like you don't have to bike and run on the same day, which could be harder for you or for most people. And you start little. Like, again, I'll use myself. Today is a 30-minute swim, a 30-minute run, and maybe a 30 to 50-minute bike ride. That's it. I know I don't know how that seems, but like a little bit at a time makes a big difference and you build up your resiliency. Address the injury first is what I'd say. Going back, someone just asked, can you define what a recovery modality is?
Sure. So different recovery modalities would be anything that can be external or internal that you are doing to promote growth and improvement. So whether that's adding to your mobility, pliability, or your ability to at a cellular level to recover. So sleep, eating, massage, any type of PT work, like that could be like physical work on your body through electrical stimulation or physical stimulation. And then lastly would be food, sleep. What's your
movement?
And stretching. Sorry, stretching.
Yeah, I mean, all you guys always not get up in arms, but get all crazy that we usually swim the day after a race. That movement and the natural massage tendencies of swimming actually is one of the best ways to recover. Right post race, because you want blood flow.
Right. So when you look at recovery, what's happening when you work is like you're promoting you're having breakdown. Breakdown can happen at a cellular level, and it can happen at like the small, micro, or big macro levels. And you want to help repair and get back to homeostasis or a starting point. So the recovery modalities will enhance that recovery, and those modalities are as described before, and they can extend from nutrition, sleep, stretching, or physical work on your body.
Yep. All right. Couple of go.
Or mental work is helpful too.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Like, oh, hey, that's a good point. Like a lot of people are talking about right now how they're like exhausted and burned out and it's getting hard to get motivated, right? After they finish a big race or event, and it's totally normal. It's okay to take downtime for your brain as much as your body, and you need it. So don't feel bad. Okay, couple logistics things, and we'll go back to other like training questions, right? Okay, random stuff. Can we have training peaks programmed workouts? We're working on it. Some will be programmed, some won't. We'll probably do a lot of the off-season programming. Again, we love program workouts. It's just a function of time and effort, like just time, because we customize most of your workouts. It's hard to program. I don't know, I'm making up a number, 15,000 workouts for you guys over the course of like a couple months. Also, it doesn't always work when you take them outside. Whatever. Next, go.
And there's a definite advantage to being mentally engaged in your workout. If you're always turning your brain off and you get into a situation in racing where you have to engage your mind, well, what's going to happen when you like there's a control aspect there. We're trying to put control in your hands, and if we take it all away from you, then you stop thinking, and a non-thinking athlete, a smart athlete's a fast athlete.
Yeah. And part of this too, I know there's a workaround for this. So don't flame me. But when you do take your workouts outside, and people do work out outside, there are other factors like traffic and lights and hills and ups and downs. And you can account for it with program workouts. I understand you can, but it's easier to just know your workout and adjust it. Like know your work to rest ratio. I'm supposed to do 10 intervals at 10-1 work to rest. Well, I can adjust my work and my rest based on the terrain I'm on. Whatever. We're trying it though. You will see much more of it this year. Zwift rides. Have you guys thought about doing them like a weekly Zwift ride? Yeah, we've tried this like, I don't know, almost every other year. It never really works because we never get enough people. Again,
yeah, there's a threshold for the actual platform. When we talked to Zwift personally, we said, hey, can we get an AP racing kit that we could apply for and have our team members ride in? And can we have scheduled group rides? And there's a threshold and a minimum to meet, and then some hoops to clear. And then the timing of it is difficult. So
yeah, timing is very difficult because we're nationwide. I will tell you this, if someone wants to take this on and schedule it and plan it, we will write all the workouts. And we'll even come up with a benefit for you, like free training for the year, free kits, whatever. We'll figure it out. So if you want it, you hit us up. I'm putting the ball in your court. Done. Okay. Next thing, and this was another logistical question. Will there be new kits for 22? Yes, there will. Finalizing the design now, probably another couple weeks. Our order window will probably be December, so that everyone can have them for early season races. Another question like this, people were saying, hey, we want to get kits. We want to get your awesome new wetsuits and goggles. Can we space this out a little bit? We will do our best to space it out for you guys. Absolutely. Right. And if you can't buy it then because of one reason or another, we'll work it out. We're also going to hold inventory this year of our kits, like a decent amount of inventory. So if you don't get something, hopefully we'll have it. And if there's a demand, we will do a second buy in early spring, so you have it for midsummer.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, that's what I got for that stuff. Let's see, anything else logistical? Go, Potts. What?
We had some logistics. Did you want to stay on logistics or you want to move?
Go.
Okay, so for the Q&A. Sorry, I'm going back to some of the questions.
I got you. Here you go. Ready? Everyone's been asking, Andy, why did you switch to Diamond?
Oh yeah.
Like, can you use it on a trainer? Is it a good bike? Were you just trying to help out an old friend? Like, do you just like beams? Like, I don't know.
Sure.
Give us the info.
Quick and dirty. I have been talking to Diamond, and the Diamond is owned by a friend of mine who used to race professionally. His name is TJ Tollickson. We started talking back in 2016. For whatever reason, it was just, we were trying to work it out. Turns out now's the time. As I'm getting older, I'm trying to seek more improvements, and we're looking at different ways to improve, how to get faster, looking at minimal gains to get maximal effect. And that's where the bike came in. And I'm also working with TJ to work on other aspects of just aerodynamics, how to work smarter within the space, using some of the things that we've used in the past, like best bike split, in terms of like maximizing training and racing. So there's a lot of effects to why the choose Diamond. Diamond is, if it's not the fastest bike out on the road, it's certainly not below number 3. I think it probably is the fastest bike on the road. And that's why I'm on it. I have only done 2 races this year for myself, and I raced on the bike, and it's fantastic. What I'm pushing, I'm getting more for what I'm doing. So my output is mattering more and more on the bike. I had a comment in my first race of the year. I was pushing, I was riding through a group, I had flatted, repaired the flat, and I had to catch the group. Then I rode through the group. Yeah, and I caught them. I rode through them, and I went to the front. And it was pretty powerful, because I was talking with some of the guys after the race, and they're like, "Oh, I was pushing this number. I was pushing 360 watts, and you were dropping me." And I was like, "Well, I wasn't pushing 360 and dropping you, and it was flat." So that to me was like, proof is in the pudding. Oh, and that was also the first time I ever broken 2 hours straight up in a 56-mile ride. So it's a crazy fast bike. One caveat: it's not great on a trainer, a standard trainer like a Wahoo kicker. It's not. It's because it doesn't have the C tube. You get pushed a little bit, and you feel like you're kind of riding on one butt cheek or the other. You can ride it on a feedback trainer or rollers. Rollers, it works awesome. A feedback trainer where the wheel is turning in the back, it works awesome. I actually brought it to Tokyo to train on at the venue, even though they don't allow beam bikes at the Olympics. I still have my beam bike, and I rode a feedback trainer there. So, yeah, if you are looking for if you are looking to take the next step with your riding, we can customize a paint job for you with Diamond. We're trying to do everything we can as with AP Racing and Diamond to make it a great resource for you guys, for those who either want to look cool or go fast and look cool.
Yeah, guys, long story really short, we tested every bike, we rode every bike, we had options to ride a lot of different bikes, and we chose this one performance based. And because we wanted to work with TJ, because he's a professional triathlete, a former professional triathlete, he gets it. He's all about helping the sport and athletes. So between those two things, that's why we ended up there.
It goes to, how do we find the best way for success? And it kept coming back to, it came back to 2 things. It came, how can I go faster? And what's best for the team? And those are the 2 things that we found with Diamond that were the best fit for the team and for me.
Yeah, and right now, if you
And
want,
I really did think about both of those things. Like honestly, like the team was a big consideration. So
yeah, and so right now, sorry guys, right now, if you want a diamond, you can just email myself or Andy and we'll get you set up. We're working on a standard program. It was just very difficult this past year because of parts availability to create a standard program for across the board. But TJ's doing his best to help you guys out through and through. Here's a question, and I'll answer first, and you can answer if you want, Andy. When we have to do a run bike or run swim, and it's non-brick, which order do you do it in? So I'll default to what I always say. Do what fits in your life, and then after that, you worry about everything else. From a personal perspective, I always rather bike before I run. I don't like to run then bike. I don't like the way it feels, and I think I get less out of it that way. And also make the other thing, and the caveat to that is make the main thing the main thing. If the main workout for the day is a run workout, you go do that in the morning, and then later in the day you can do your bike workout, or vice versa. Anything to add, Mr. Potts?
no.
Okay.
If you want to try it out, and you want to see what Daniel's talking about, you know, if you're just not sure, try it out. Try to go run and then ride, or swim and then run, or run and then swim, or bike and then swim. You can change it up and find what works the best for you, what your body tolerates the best, what your mind tolerates the best, and what your schedule, obviously.
Yeah, exactly. And like, I always think about my life, right? So like, I know I can swim when it's pitch black out early in the morning. So I get up and I swim. Everyone else in the world is sleeping, or my kids are sleeping, and I can go swim because it's dark. I can't go outside on my bike. You can get on a trainer, but you can't go outside. So like, I swim in the morning. It's the first thing I do. You got to do what works for you and your schedule. Cool. We got a question, Andy. I don't know if you want to field or you want me to start with it. Can you talk a little about power-based training for running and what fields you put on your watch when you do it?
So fields for your watch, very similar to fields for your power meter. So the big thing that I get on my watch, I actually, sometimes I'll have it, I'll go between, if I'm on a track, it's a little different. I'll have 2 interfaces on a track, sometimes 3, never 4. If I'm out on the road, sometimes 4, most of the time 2.
Yeah, but that's also because you're old and you can't see anything with your eyes.
I'm a professional guide, Daniel.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. All right. Yeah, I go there. You made me look like a jerk now. Love that. Let's see. Appreciate that. Thank you.
So I would go with the fields of the 2 most important fields that you have on your watch are, like, I go off of pace, and then I go off of my time.
But if we're talking power, okay, you want to look at, just like on the bike and bike power, you want to look at like 3-second power, average power, or average lap power if you're doing intervals.
Average lap power, 3-second power, and lap time.
Yes, exactly. And if you need like, you've never used power before, just like if you've never used it before on the bike and you're getting started, don't look at targets or look for certain numbers. Just go out and use it and get a familiarity with it. You'll start to learn what your power numbers are and how they relate to your pace, they relate to your effort. And then you could start to hone in closer. The crazy thing, if you use the stride power meter, is they usually end up pretty close to your bike power numbers. So like, if you push 200 watts for zone 3 on the bike, it's going to be pretty similar in the run. At least that's what I found with all of our athletes across the board.
Boom.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions out there? Let's see. Let me see what else I have on my list from you guys. Why am I so bad at fantasy football? I don't know. Okay. Andy, when you get a technical bike course like Alcatraz, for example, right? How do you approach that type of ride differently?
Sorry, I was reading Caduceus question in Q&A. Can you repeat the answer or the question?
When you get a technical bike course like Alcatraz, how do you
Right.
handle it? How do you handle it?
Yeah, so when you're on a technical course, there is a really big benefit to riding it before you race it. Just kind of in the anticipation aspects, just like when you go out and ride any course or terrain that you're familiar with in training, you get better at how to navigate, when to dive into turns, when to stand and pedal, when to sit and drive power. Whatever those nuances may be, they come with familiarity. So when you're in a technical course, I would encourage you to at least drive it. If you can't drive it, sometimes you can find on YouTube like a speed version of like how to watch it. We did that actually in Tokyo. We were able to ride the course 4 times, and then one of the time we recorded it, and so we could watch it in the room to know when to brake, how to angle, all these things. And then it's kind of like a race car driver. There's a mental acuity that comes with the familiarity of the vision before the action, and that helps tremendously.
Yep, exactly. It's about knowing the course more than anything else. Power is going to be more variable as well too.
Yeah, ignore your power.
Yeah, pretty much. Yep, exactly. All right. Hey, I'm going to go back. I'm going to jump to a couple of logistical services really quick, logistical things, as people funnel in some questions, and then we go from there. Okay, sound good? Okay, so this is for everyone across the board. These Ask Us Anythings, it seems like you guys like them. We're going to schedule them for about once a month going forward, for the 2022 season, that is. We probably do them for the rest of this year too. We might even address a specific topic and even keep them a little shorter so more people can attend. But we will address a specific topic. It'll be the same time every month, and you'll know where to find us. That's one thing. Hope you guys like that idea. We like it too. Next thing, for anyone that's on our custom training program, where we give you your annual plan, we're actually, if you guys want us to, we're probably going to have you have it so that we can see your training for the year. So we'll actually manage your calendar as well. And we want to do this so that we can incorporate more team-wide training. So like a challenge workout of the month, challenge workout of the week, maybe everyone gets the same or is doing testing at the same time. We want to kind of streamline some of those things so we can have more discussion and discourse about what you guys are doing. Plus, we've had a lot of people that have changes throughout the year recently, and we'll be able to dive right into your training peaks and adjust it. So that's going to be a big change for this year. Next thing, team races and events, as well as communication. We found that communication, the more we can do it, the better it is for you, the better it is for us. We announced like a few weeks ago, Brian McEnany, just in Chattanooga, is going to be on charge of our team calendar and making weekly announcements regarding races that are coming up and results from races. More importantly, for some of our bigger races this year, we created Facebook Messenger groups and got people together pre and post. We're going to do that even earlier. So if everyone's training for Ironman Arizona, you guys are going to get in a group earlier, and a lot of your training might coincide as well, so we can talk about it and get specific questions and answers. So we're hoping that's going to help. We'll also, once we know who's racing what, have one person be, I'll call it a race team captain, to come up with events for the weekend so we can do more stuff at every event. Sound good? Cool. Andy.
Yeah, one other thing to add in there. Did you want us to mention the movement series?
Yeah, go for it. Okay, I will. We're working on right now. Last year we did 8 at 8, the 8 at 8s, right? For about 2-3 months we did it, maybe a little longer. We're going to work on one workout per week that one of our coaches will do with you guys for core stability, movement, and pliability. It'll be live either on our YouTube or Facebook channel, and then we will send it out. And this is another reason why we want control of your calendar, because we will drop it in for the following week for you guys to see it as well. Should be pretty cool. It's a big commitment on our end, but we're going to do it because it's good for you guys and for all of us. Other thing, in the next 2 weeks, we're going to make an announcement. We're bringing on probably 2 to 4 more coaches that we've been working with, training, putting them through our rigorous apprenticeship program. And we're really excited about it. We hope you guys are too.
All right.
Yeah.
As we wrap up, I have a couple things. One is Scott Caduce, Elf on the Shelf, the human live version. Stay tuned for December to find out if the Elf on the Shelf will make an appearance.
Pretty sure he will.
Okay. Next, Betsy was asking road service in Tokyo. So the surface on the ride was super smooth. It's a very clean city. And I'll kind of wrap it all up with a little Tokyo bit. So the Paralympics was fantastic. Tokyo did a fantastic job of hosting us. The city was immaculate. The road surface was fantastic. The 2 things to be careful of when we were racing was the paint on the road. Sometimes paint reacts differently than the tarmac or concrete or pavement. So you got to be real careful of paint. And then the other thing that we were cognizant of was there was a 160 as we transitioned, or we went into transition off the bike. Now, if you've ever ridden in the back of a bus and you hit a speed bump, the people in the back of the bus get jolted more than the people in the front. So in the tandem, I had to yell at Kyle, hey, 160, 160, 160, get ready for the bump every time we approached it, because he had to really knuckle down and get ready to be like a bucking bronco because it was an abrupt change in surface and elevation, and then a hard left 160 out of it. So that was really interesting. But that blue surface, if you watch the Olympics and the Paralympics, that blue surface was very tacky, and you could actually really push on it. So that was nice. The carpet was a little slippery, but it was a non-factor, especially for the bike. For the run, if you went into it and you had been getting yourself all wet because it was so humid, you could slip a little bit on the run. But we were really happy with how we performed in Tokyo. Kyle was 5th. We thought a great race would be 5th, an awesome race would be 3rd, and a good race would be around 7th or 8th. So we had a great race, and I thought we maximized potential on the day. There are a few things that we definitely learned that we want to improve upon for next year and to make a run in 24 if that's in the cards. So yeah, it was definitely an awesome experience. Now, lastly, don't know my schedule for next year. Someone was asking about Alcatraz is my favorite race. So if it's a possibility, it's actually, I want to say it's June 5th in San Francisco. I'd love to do it, but I don't know for sure yet. But if we do it, I do know that we would go and try to set up we would use there's an aqua center that's, what's it called, Daniel?
The Aquatic Center.
The aquatic park.
Park. Yeah,
yep. It's the aquatic park, and it's this open area where you can swim in open water. And we would probably, try to bring the demo fleet of all the new wetsuits, do it in conjunction with Alcatraz. Something like that is definitely on the radar for next year. So if you guys have more questions or more comments, we are going to have a little bit look for the frequency, like Daniel said, on meetups and these types of interactions, because we feel like it's helpful not only for you guys, but in terms of the relay of information. It's just more consistent, and we find it's better too with the feedback that we've been getting. So thanks for joining in today. Daniel, did you have anything more to add?
No, thank you guys very much. We
look for the
updates. We'll try and put all this in written form so you can review it at your leisure. And yeah, that's what I got.
So
Great seeing you guys. Peace.
later.